Liberty Talks. Oh gosh, I'm dropping everything here. We have Chad Koppie, who's running for U.S. Senate in Illinois. Jennifer, tell us a little bit about him, since you are in Illinois.
And his name is pronounced Koppie.
Koppie.
Yes. I had to ask, too. I wanted to make sure. And I think I texted you that to make sure that you knew that. Oops. Anyway.
Awkward.
He is running for U.S. Senate. He's running against Dick Durbin.
Ooh.
And he will be running, of course, on the GOP ticket.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this is his third time running.
Mm-hmm.
He has ran on the Constitution Party in 2008, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
So I'm sure he'll be pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You're sure?
I'm positive. Those Constitution Party candidates, they're always very great.
Right. He's strongly pro-life. He's pro-gun rights and anti-illegal immigration. He wants to repeal Obamacare. He wants to help eliminate the Department of Education, audit the Fed, cut all federal spending by 3% per year for 10 years. He also supports a federal flat tax.
Okay.
He supports a balanced budget amendment for the Constitution. He is a Ron Paul supporter.
Okay.
Sounds a lot like Ron Paul, doesn't he?
He does sound a lot like Ron Paul.
Yes.
And
so he told me he'd been a Ron Paul fan for 30 years.
Wow.
So
much longer than me.
And me.
So how many years have I been going on now? About 4, 5? Maybe 6. But I think we have our caller here. Jennifer, if you want to go ahead and you can introduce him.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Koppie.
Hello. Yeah, this is Chad Koppie.
Hi, Chad. How are you? You are running for U.S. Senate in Illinois. Is that correct?
I am.
And you are running against the...
I'm running against the infamous Richard Durbin.
I was going to call him something else, so I thought I'd let you finish that to be a little bit professional here.
Okay.
But tell us about your campaign. Why would the people of Illinois vote for you?
Are we on the air?
Yes.
We are, yes.
Are we on the air now?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Can I make a statement here?
You sure can.
Okay, it'll take about a minute.
Okay.
I am Chad Koppie from Gilbert's, Illinois. My name has been placed again in nomination for the United States Senate race in the state of Illinois, and I've been on the statewide ballot several times in the past. I was U.S. Senate candidate officially on the ballot and as an independent 3 times, once against Carol Moseley Braun in 1992, Dick Durbin in 1996, and Dick Durbin again 5 years ago. I was on the primary ballot for Republican governor in 1998, running against the infamous George Ryan. My resume is commensurate with our constitutional republic. I have produced honorably in many different endeavors, including but not limited to the following. I am a retired jumbo jet captain, having flown in the employ of Delta Airlines for 35 years out of Chicago's O'Hare Airport domestically, and I retired as the #1 overseas jumbo jet captain out of New York City's JFK. I was born and raised on a poor dirt farm and was number 5 out of 9 siblings, 6 boys and 3 girls, and we were poor but a happy Christian family living on that farm. After high school graduation, I attended Purdue University to pursue the aviation and agriculture curriculums offered by that fine institution, and I married early to my one and only and still wife, Teresa. We have 3 boys and 1 girl and 10 grandchildren. We live on a farm of 80 acres in northern Illinois and rent 1,200 more acres that we still farm. I still operate all of the machinery and drive semi-grain trucks to the market. And at one time in the 1980s, we family farmed over 4,000 acres, operated and managed by yours truly. We went from rags to riches, and it appears like we're going back to rags. I was like the young farmer who won the lottery, who was asked, what are you going to do with all that money? And he said, I'm going to farm until it's all gone. I think that's what we're doing, but of course I had other things. I had a very nice pension from Delta Airlines, but was lost. That pension was lost in the Delta bankruptcy, and it was $100,000 a year, and I no longer enjoy that pension. My 4 statewide political races depleted vast amounts of our savings, which is okay. There is a huge overarching problem that every American faces, and that is the federal government. They have too much power. Power is money, and money is power. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. This absolute power enables tyranny, and tyranny is the loss of liberty. This kind of power was known about in 1776 when the Founding Fathers and the great American Tea Party patriots of that time fomented and won the American Revolutionary War, and the likes of Washington, Jefferson, Franklin wrote the greatest living documents ever composed by any earthly body. We all know these documents as the original Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights as amended. I, as a very productive American and practicing Christian of a long-tenured career of many endeavors, can tell you that our precious Constitution and Bill of Rights is in dire distress. It's in dire danger. Tyranny and liberty lost is at the door. Very, very clever people who lust for more and more power are the few, and would and very possibly could control the destiny of all mankind. These few are the likes of the Federal Reserve bankers who control the monetary system that controls the economy. J.P. Morgan, the most powerful banker at that time, created the Federal Reserve in 1913 and helped set up the federal income tax at the same time. Both have enabled the federal government's runaway power grab. Both should be repealed, along with Obamacare and any other all-powerful bureaucracies. The only way for the American people to get control of the federal government is to take away their money. Congress alone has that power. I propose, as a member of that Congress, so as to not shock the system, to get Congress to cut 3% of all federal expenditures each year until the budget is not only balanced, but runs enough surplus to pay down the $16 trillion debt. Not shock the system means everyone still gets a check. This will enable and excite the private sector to produce, which would build the tax base rapidly and excite people to leave the federal government for the private sector. I have some more here.
Okay.
To summarize, I am in a very unique position to serve our country. I have already had the American dream. I need only to serve God and country for the rest of my tenure on this earth. I intend, with your help, to do just that. I ask each of you to recognize this opportunity in 2014. Turn Richard Durbin out of office and elect Chad Koppie to the United States Senate. I promise I will not disappoint you or America. I am for the Second Amendment, for the right to life, for repeal of the Federal Reserve, and for repeal of several other federal government bureaucracies such as the Department of Education. You folks are not like Mike, and I'm talking to your audience. You folks are not like many or even more Americans. You get it. This power that I referenced is able to dupe the majority through the media control, which is mind control. That is how Obama and the likes of Durbin get elected, destroying morality, economics, and the free enterprise system that created the shining city on the hill that we all know as America the Beautiful. I have done my homework. I know the machinations and make the American majority ignorant of the fact. They make the American majority ignorant of the fact that he who would exchange liberty for security should soon have neither. As you can see, and as you must know, I'm not a youngster anymore, and for us who seek to retain liberty for ourselves and our posterity, this is good, because I now dedicate the rest of my life and the rest of my tenure on this earth to the constitutional tenets memorialized in the great by the great patriots of 1776 revolt. Long live the Constitution of the United States. Liberty once lost is never regained. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I will caution you. The power of certain leadership in the Republican Party will pony up a pretty boy candidate for United States Senate for 2014. Beware. They know how, with money and power, to get their nominee front and center. We could, and I predict in that case, we once again elect an insider who will owe his heart and soul to the weak sisters, who are right now in control of your children and our grandchildren's destiny. We must take it back before it's too late, and the hour is late. End of my comment.
Very nice.
Yes.
I don't know if you explained all of your positions very nicely. The only question I can think of is there's a lot of money involved in politics, and it seems like the more money you have, the better chance you have of even getting your foot in the door. How will you combat the powerhouse behind the elite Republicans and the elite Democrat known as Dick Durbin?
Well, I sort of addressed that a little bit in this commentary that I just made, and that is that I have spent great deals of time and money and have been on the statewide ballot in Illinois already 4 times. So there's a lot of ground out there that's been cultivated already, a lot of plowed ground out there that is ready for seeding. And I'm not an unknown factor in the state of Illinois, and I'm not an unknown factor as a conservative. And if the grassroots, or if this thing could take on, shall we say, what do they call it when something takes off? Anyway, if it took off and took life of its own, this could, and there's Tea Party patriots all over the place who are of this volition now, and Tea Party patriots without any money have been getting elected. So, am I a Tea Party patriot? Absolutely. Have I always been a Tea Party patriot? Long before the Tea Party was ever even announced. I go way back in past 1992. I've been saying these same things for years and years. So I'm not an unknown factor already. It's not like that I was coming first crack out of the box. I'm a well-known factor in the state of Illinois, all across the state. And, of course, I never could win an election before because of the media and their control of being able to dark corner conservative candidates. So there's such a thing that this could take on a life of its own, and that's what I'm hoping for. That's what we should all hope for, because if I could get elected, I would be asking and pointing out some very, very difficult situations associated with the bankruptcy of the country and the moral bankruptcy of the country, et cetera, et cetera. It goes on, and I'm not afraid to do so. I'll stand toe to toe with any of them, and that I will not be driven back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, what do you need the people of Illinois to do? That's a pretty general question, I know. What do you need?
Well, Illinois has got to, in other words, they've got all of the grassroots patriots have got to start to be informed of who I am and where I am, and start to get behind the candidacy of Chad Koppie. If in fact that would happen, and there's a word that I'm still searching for, and I don't know why it doesn't come to me right at the moment, but take on a life of its own. Go viral. That's the question. That's the word. If it would ever go viral, then we got them.
Right.
We got the election.
And I think you're starting to right now with your website. And online, that is important. I think, most of especially the young generation, and I think that you carry what the young generation is seeking. What you stand for is what the Young Liberty movement stands for. So basically what needs to happen is that you do need to get, while you have recognition in Illinois, you have to get a little bit of national support out of that also. And, you know, your message is everything that they are seeking. So, you know, basically I think what needs to happen is that you're right, it needs to go viral, and I think it needs to go, you know, basically have an online live, because that's where the movement happens.
Yes.
You know, and you know, I think even, I don't know if you're familiar with the Ron Paul forums at all. Are you familiar with that website at all?
I'm sorry, I missed your point.
Well, there's a forum called the Ron Paul forums, and it's called the Liberty forums. And what they do is, you know, there's individual people in there that periodically announce Liberty candidates that are running, and they try to draw in support. They try to draw in funds. They call them money bombs. And you know, to get your message out, you're going to have some advertising. So I'm sure, you know, we could round up some people to do that, to, you know,
Definitely.
get you online.
That's what needs to happen. In addition to that, what we need to do also is to go not only statewide in Illinois, but it needs to go viral around the United States of America.
That's right.
Because the thing about it is the Senate is so few, you know,
Right.
that any senator votes for every issue for every American.
That's right.
So every American in the United States of America who's of our volition should be happy enough to find comfort and solace in the idea of the Koppie candidacy.
Yes.
And if that could happen, and if that went viral, then the money, even $1 at a time, like the Obama thing does. That's the way he won all of his elections, with $10 and $15 donations. It wasn't those although he got plenty of those also. Mm-hmm.
Right.
But he got big money, but he got most of his money came from the $10 donations.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could, if this thing went viral around the country, and that some $10 donations would start to come in, and we ever started to take on a life of our own. And here's more. I think that, you see, I'm still a very viable pilot. I still have flight instructor's licenses, and I have all the licenses that I ever had. And I do have access to airplanes, and I can fly to most any part of the state of Illinois, or even other states and things like that, to meet with people. And I don't know if this would mean anything or not, but I also have access to a DC-3, which I have mostly the ownership of that DC-3. And I don't know if many people in your listening audience would know what a DC-3 is, but it's a very large airplane of the 1930s and 1940s, 1950s. Mm-hmm. It was the father of modern aviation, but I do have that airplane, and I'm going to be utilizing that in this campaign.
Wow.
And it's very much of a prop. In other words, not no pun intended with propellers, but it's very much of a live prop that could gather a lot of attention. And of course, it's going to eat gasoline like there's no tomorrow. It costs it burns 100 gallon an hour, and that's $6 an hour essentially. So it's $600 an hour just to operate the thing. That's just for gasoline. But nonetheless, that's not any money compared to a Senate campaign. In other words, if I would fly it any more than 100 hours, which would be essentially $6,000 if I think my mental arithmetic is correct at the moment. But that's nothing. So 100 hours it goes like 160 miles an hour. So 100 hours flies you all over the place. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, let's call it 200 hours, but you get the point. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, I am very much of an accomplished pilot. I have 27,000 hours in the air with Delta Airlines, and never scrubbed a tire in my entire tenure. In other words, there was no accidents, no incidents, nothing. I'm clean. As far as the aviation situation is concerned. Mm-hmm. Same thing with agriculture. I used to run 4,000 acres. Well, nobody can complain about me ever doing anything other than proper and appropriate.
I want to ask you a quick
and it
question.
goes on. So the thing about it is all of these things are in the record book. Nobody could deny it. I'm proud of my tenure, and I'm proud of my activities, and I'm proud of my productive life. And again, I have nothing further to do in this world other than to try to salvage the sovereignty of the United States of America.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to ask you a question on foreign policy.
Yes.
With the current events that are going on right now, what are your feelings about what are your feelings about what's going on right now? And I'm talking about all of our involvements in the Middle East and around.
Benghazi and all that. Yeah. Well, who isn't disappointed about that thinks? In other words, any thinking person knows that there is lies afoot all over the place, and cover-ups all over the place. And the thing about it is, it's unconstitutional, and it's illegal. And these people who are doing this lying and one thing and another have to be brought to task. And I think that I'm unabashed in saying, okay, I'm on the Senate floor, I'm elected U.S. Senator, I'm going to be asking some very pointed questions and making some very pointed statements about all these things. I'm not bashful. I'm not afraid. I don't need to be afraid anymore, even though am fully aware of the fact that people like myself, it's just like the IRS coming after the Tea Party patriots. I'm fully aware of the fact that the government can bring pressure to bear and especially with this Patriot Act of late, which was enacted here a few months ago, they can take somebody like you or me or anybody in your audience, and if they declare you a terrorist, you are gone, and you're not even entitled to a trial. Not even entitled to a trial.
Right.
And I know that there's a very distinct possibility that you could be singled out. I could be singled out, not you, me, for saying what I'm saying right now. Even what I'm saying right now.
Definitely.
It's dangerous. It's very dangerous.
It
but
is.
I'm willing to run the risk.
Well,
Like I said before, I dedicate the rest of my tenure, the rest of my time on this earth, for the sovereignty, first of all, to serve God and country. And the sovereignty of the United States comes in pretty quick.
All right. Well, we want to thank you for coming on, and we will have you on again. And I want to also say that you've also started going viral because this is actually on a website from Indiana, so the people of Indiana will get to hear you. So we'll have you on again sometime as the primary gets going even more.
I'm so happy.
And
Yes.
thank you very much for calling in.
And we'll see what we can do for you.
Yes, definitely.
God bless America.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Chad Koppie, everyone. He's running for U.S. Senate in Illinois.
He sounds just awesome.
Yes, he does. Breath of fresh air.
Yes.
So we're going to take a break before Gary throws something at me because we are over break.